The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time! Welcome to Talk Live Paranormal with Shannon and Mr. Bill. I am Mr. Bill.
And I am Shannon.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
How you doing, Shannon?
Doing awesome.
Good.
All my technology stuff is working tonight, so I'm always in a good mood when it works.
Yeah. Hey, that's the way we have to do it. We just gotta take it one night at a time, one keystroke at a time.
Exactly.
Want to start out with? I'm here. I'm here.
I'm breathing. I woke up today.
Well, there's no proof of that yet. I went to work. There's no proof. I went to work with computers that don't want to work, and kind of sat around and did as much as I could, and then couldn't do any more. So came home, made a bunch of cheesecake for tomorrow, and yeah, I'm here.
You gonna send me some? I want some cheesecake.
Hey, I've never made these recipes before, so we'll see how
test them first.
I'm testing them out on the people at work. If they die, I ain't never making them again.
All right, that sounds good.
But it'll give me somebody to check up on. Hey, everybody, we want to start off tonight like we always do, throwing a big shout out to all the men and women in uniform out there. Men, women, veterans, everybody out there, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, National Guard, reservists. If you wear a uniform or you wore a uniform, thank you very much for your service, for keeping the peace here and keeping us safe. Thank you.
Thank you to that.
So we talked about this a little while ago, what we're going to talk about tonight, and we might as well. Sad news in the world of paranormal investigation and the world of paranormal. Period.
Yeah.
Lorraine Warren passed away on April 18th. She was 92. Yep. She was the godmother of paranormal. The stuff she was involved with, her and her husband Ed, just the stuff that they did, most notably would be the Annabelle doll. That's what a lot of people know her from.
Yeah. But one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we talked about, we'd touch on Ed and Lorraine and kind of talk about their story, how they met each other, where they met, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot.
Yeah, let's talk about Ed first. Ed Miney was born September 7th, 1926, and he died on August 23rd, 2006. Lorraine Rita Warren was born on January 31st, 1927, and died again April 18th, 2019.
Yeah, her funeral was this morning.
Yeah, I did not know that in 1952 the Warrens founded the New England Society for Psychic Research, and that it was the oldest ghost hunting group in New England. They've I don't even know how many books that they authored. They're all over the place. I know that they've talked about how they've done over 10,000 cases in their career. And they were among the first investigators for the Amityville haunting. Yep. And you found out some different information on the Amityville haunting.
Well, I think it's the same stuff on that page. If you go down to the notable investigations, is what I wrote down. So, because it says that under one of the notable, we'll kind of jump around, but one of the notable investigations that they're known for was the Amityville house story. And it basically says the Warrens are best known for their involvement in the Amityville horror case, in which New York couple George and Kathy Lutz claimed that their home was haunted by a violent demonic presence so intense that it eventually drove them out of their home. Conspiracy authors Steve and Roxanne Kaplan characterized the case as a hoax, which I remember reading about.
Yeah.
I didn't read a whole lot into it, but I remember reading about it. And Lorraine quickly told a reporter it was not a hoax. The reported haunting was the basis for the 1977 book, which I want to try and get and read. And then the 1979 and 2005 movies. And before you jumped on here, before Daniel left, he was telling me that the original was probably a better one to watch. I'd seen maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes of the one from 2005 with Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
But I swear to God, I'm not a big fan of seeing children get hurt in movies. I don't watch a whole lot of movies where children die, just because of having 2 kids. But I couldn't get past the first 5 or 10 minutes where the guy had killed the little girl in the closet. I literally turned it off at that point. Like, I didn't even watch the whole movie.
See, and I've never seen either one of them.
I haven't seen the original either. But Daniel said the original, it starts out kind of telling the story, but it starts out after the murders.
Oh, okay.
So, like, none of that stuff was in it. But I mean, then I can watch movies like Haunting in Connecticut, which is also one of the ones that they're notable for. And we'll get into that one here in a little bit, because there's a lot behind that one. Because I've met the woman, I've met Carmen Reed, and got to actually talk to her, and she was the one that movie was, her family was the one that lived in the house, and it was based off of their family.
See, the part that I didn't like, and the thing that I don't like, is that there was the version of the events that was done by the Warrens was adopted and portrayed in part of the opening sequence of The Conjuring 2. So it's like they stole some of the Amityville stuff and brought it over to The Conjuring. Did you know that?
Well, it actually talks, what was it? That one. There was one of the ones that they were noted for. It was called the Perrin Family Haunting.
Yeah, was it in 1971? Warrens claimed that the Harrisville, Rhode Island home of the Perrin family was haunted by a witch who lived there in the early 19th century. The Warrens said Bathsheba Sherman cursed the land, so whoever lived there somehow died a terrible death. And the story was a subject of the film The Conjuring.
The first one.
The Lorraine Warren was a consultant to the production, and appeared in a cameo role in the film. So,
and see, I've seen The Conjuring. I haven't seen the second one yet, but I've seen the first one.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know. That was some of those movies creep me out. The ones that are based on true events, which a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are just for a movie.
Yep. Well, a lot of them are based on true events, but still, the part I can't get over watching them, I really don't like watching them, is because it may be based on true events, but Hollywood has such a spin on the shit that they change so much of it that even the people that are going, none of that happened. None of that was but then you go, well, we got to sell tickets and we got to put asses in seats to watch the movies. Well, have you tried telling one by the true story? I don't think they ever have.
Well, when I had talked to Carmen Reed, it was at an event, an Ideal Management event. When I got to meet her and talk to her about that movie, she only said that a couple of the things that they had put in the movie never really happened. But she said there's about 70 or 80% of what they had in the movie actually did happen.
Really?
Because that was one of my questions for her. I was curious about.
Huh.
Okay,
Well,
it was one of the scenes with have you seen The Haunting in Connecticut?
No.
Okay.
I laugh at those things. I can't get into watching them. I start watching them and my mind goes, oh, look, a Furby. Oh, look, a stuffed animal.
Oh
Look,
my
a
gosh.
puppy. Squirrel.
Gosh. Ooh, shiny things.
Ha ha, shiny objects. Ha 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 ha. But no, I have a hard time watching them.
I forgot which one it was, though. I had it wrote down.
While you're looking for that, I'm gonna.
I have crap everywhere.
We talked about, one of the most notable things that the Warrens were known for was Annabelle, and
Right.
we talked about the story before. It was in 1968. Two roommates claimed that their Raggedy Ann doll was possessed by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. The Warrens took the doll, telling the roommates that it was being manipulated by an inhuman presence, and they put it in their occult museum. And several movies have come out, and Annabelle's been in them.
The actual Annabelle?
No. They're just
another
the horror.
imitational Raggedy Ann.
Yeah, there's a horror film called Annabelle, and then there's Annabelle Creation, and Annabelle Comes Home, which was one of the spin-offs to the prequel of The Conjuring, came out of all that. So, yeah, the between Annabelle and Amityville, I knew about the Warrens a long time before I ever heard of Annabelle. A long time before I ever heard of any of this other stuff. Just
right.
by learning, knowing that she had the way she adopted and adapted different pieces of, number one, equipment to be able to do investigations.
Right.
And if anybody's listening, there's a piece of equipment that she uses, that she used, that people look and go, well, that's dumb. Why would you want to do that? Which was a reel-to-reel recorder. Now, the reel-to-reel recorder, everybody says, no, digital's better. It's not. A reel-to-reel recorder just picks up real sound. It picks up everything. It doesn't cut off anything.
Right.
You need to study and learn about your equipment to know that all your digital recorders, 99% of them record in MP3 or MP4, or a format that cuts off the bottom part of the sound that doesn't sound good, and it cuts off the top. It gets rid of what you think you're hearing, or what you're trying to catch in the lower ranges and the upper ranges.
Right.
So she used a reel-to-reel on the old-fashioned, the old-fashioned reels, and on the old-fashioned tape, and she caught a lot more than what people understand. She was a
Well, that's probably what they used the most in the 70s anyways. Why change it if it works?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, she pioneered so much stuff, and I actually read an article about her where she said exactly what I've adopted, that you're born with some of the best paranormal investigating tools in the world. Your eyes, your ears, your smell, your taste, and your just your skin, your feeling. And what you think you feel internally. So it's not as people always come out with these newfound ways of, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. She's doing that long before, and she was telling people about that. Nobody wanted to hear because everybody wants to use all the newfangled stuff, which is
all
fine.
That expensive stuff that doesn't work
It's fine. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. I mean, I build stuff. I make my own EMF detectors. I made the pyramid. I made the spirit light. I'm in the process of making for lack of better terms, it's the same thing as the I can see it, the round REM pod, but it's a single light REM pod made out of an old aerial antenna, TV antenna that's used to sit on top of your TV with the two antennas.
Right.
There's a way to make one of those. So that's what I like, making that kind of stuff. But I also think going back to just the way Ed and the Ring used to do it was the way that it should be done. Just go there and get quiet and listen. Take that notebook out and write down times and stuff you're hearing and you're seeing. I watched one of her private investigations she did on a home where she went in and for like 3 hours just sat and looked around. didn't move, didn't get up, just wrote down what she was feeling, what she thought she was hearing.
Well, she didn't need all that equipment. You know, she was a professed clairvoyant and light trance medium. Didn't need all that fancy equipment anyways.
Oh, yeah, true. Very true. So, but I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm coming more into more notions on this, especially with one of the other topics we're going to talk about here later, that I think everybody in the world has some sort of an ability. And that's what Lorraine also said, that, you know, everyone in the world has some sort of ability, but they just don't want to use it. Or they forgot how to use it.
Or they're scared to use it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some stuff that you and I have seen, you and I have done, where we kind of look and go, all right, we're going to stop for a while. This is we got to put the brakes on here because something ain't right. You know. Yep. So it's not what you do with what you have, it's what you do with what you don't have, I think. And I kind of think that's the way Lorraine and Ed were pushing it towards, was take a step back, slow down, don't rush your investigation. Do do what you have to do to find out the information, or to find anything out. There's so many little things out there that we can do that we don't need all this stuff for.
I actually wonder, because it says they've done over 10,000, they've investigated over 10,000 during their whole career. I know there's probably no exact number out there, but I'm actually kind of curious as to how many investigations that they've actually went to and didn't find anything.
That's a good question, because we've done that.
Oh, we do that all the time.
I mean, you kind of, okay, that's just, there's nothing here. What do we do?
And that's even in locations you've done on a regular basis where you do get stuff most of the time, but then you do have those weekends where you won't get anything.
Oh, yeah.
You hear your crickets on your recorder when you go to play back.
There's just nothing there. And a lot of that, I feel, is based on the people that are with us. There's a lot of times I look at it and go, this, and I'm not going to name any names, but I have quite a few, where you look at it and go, God, this group of people, this two guys here are just assholes. Yeah. And they won't shut up, and they won't do this, and I want to throw them out. And everybody's like, we're not getting anything. And you kind of look over and like, yeah, I know, and I know why.
Right.
We've
had investigations like that too.
It's just, and then sometimes you get there and you got the most timid and shy people, and you're getting everything.
Yeah, but that's even with you asking questions. Like, there's a lot of times we have a lot of shy people that won't talk and ask a question.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like they're curious about the paranormal, but they don't want to initiate anything. They just want somebody else to do it, and then they want to see with their own eyes or hear with their own ears, Yep.
Definitely on that one. So when people look at you and go, okay, what are you going to do next? I'm not going to do shit. You're going to do it. Here's what you're going to do. I'm going to put you into one of these rooms and blindfold your ass, and you aren't going to be able to see. I want you to be as quiet as possible and tell me what you hear. Tell me what you feel. Is it getting colder? Is it getting warmer? Do you smell a cigar smoke? Do you smell? And that's one thing I never do. I figured out that I put people in a room and you tell me what you hear, if you smell anything, and then I stop right there.
Right.
Because I don't want to put something in the back of their mind going, I did smell cigar smoke. Well, that's probably because I'm standing out here smoking a cigar.
Right.
I took the cigar you were going to smoke that you can't smoke in there, but if I get thrown out, who cares?
I miss telling people, name somebody you came with, and then I'll take that person they name, and then I'll turn it around and say, somebody name somebody you came with. And of course, everybody's real quick to blurt out a name then, and then I take the person who said the name.
Yeah, well,
I used to like to flip it around.
Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah. Thank you for volunteering your friend for one, and then you being the one that volunteered, yeah. So, and then Ed Warren was also a U.S. Navy veteran.
Hoorah. And a former police officer.
Yeah, and see, I didn't know that till you told me that.
And he was a self-taught, self-professed demonologist too.
Yeah, and see, I mean, a lot of people in the paranormal know the basis of what a demonologist is. And like I was telling you earlier, I know a couple people who claim to be a demonologist, but when you call to ask them questions and stuff like that, it's simple questions that, a demonologist would normally be able to answer, and they're just kind of dumbfounded,
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so I can't call upon you if I run across anything like that.
Thanks for helping me out with nothing.
Yeah, I do have one or two people that I can call if I've got questions, but there's been quite a few that's crossed my path that are like, I'm a demonologist, and then you ask them certain questions and they kind of freeze up, and I'm like, no, you're not.
It's so hard. I hate the fact that, there's people out there that put titles on themselves. I don't want to put a title on myself because the only title I can come up with is asshole, and I don't think that works in the paranormal.
Sure it does.
Okay, well then we'll take it. But I feel that if you're going to call yourself, and now I'm not saying anything bad against Ed Warren because he actually proved some of the stuff that he knew his stuff. But if you're going to call yourself something and you can't answer the most simplest of questions,
right?
Then stop. I agree. Then stop calling yourself that.
I agree. I mean, I consider myself a paranormal investigator, but I've never considered myself a professional being the best at what I do.
Oh, hell no.
I'm just another one of those people looking for answers.
And that's what I think every one of us should be, is we're always looking for answers. I'm a practicing paranormal investigator. I practice all the time, and I get most of it wrong. So I got to keep working on this.
What are you getting wrong?
That was a joke, Shannon. Jeez,
oh, okay.
Come on. Catch up
I'm
with
a blonde. You can't throw that shit at me and not expect me not to catch it. Listen. So
go ahead.
Thanks. Another one of the and see, I'd never heard of this one at all. This demon murder trial is what it was called. It's one of another notable investigation that they did. And it says in 1981, Arn Johnson was accused of killing his landlord, Alan Bano. Ed and Lorraine Warren had been called prior to the killing to deal with alleged demonic possession of the younger brother of Mr. Johnson's fiancée. The Warrens subsequently claimed that Mr. Johnson was also possessed. At the trial, Mr. Johnson attempted to plead not guilty by reason of demonic possession, but was unsuccessful with his plea. The case was described in the 1983 book, The Devil in Connecticut by Gerald Brittle. And that's another thing listed on that website that you got pulled up too, if you still have it pulled up, is If you scroll all the way down, there's a list of books by the Warrens and by this Jared Brittle that I want to try and go find and read, because I'm curious now. Because it doesn't give you a whole lot of descriptions of these notable investigations, just gives you a brief description.
Yep.
And some of these are pretty freaking interesting. Like, I'd never heard of that demon murder trial.
I had never heard of that either.
Or the guy's name. And that was, 1981, I was only 4.
Say, don't do it. Don't do it.
I was 4. Yeah, I was 4. So, and I mean, like, was the one, where it said 1977? It said something about 1977. That's another one coming up, I think.
In 1977, the Warrens investigated claims that a family in North London suburb of Enfield was haunted by a poltergeist activity, while a number of independent observers dismissed the incident as a hoax carried out by attention-hungry children. The Warrens were convinced that it was a case of demonic possession. The story was the inspiration for The Conjuring 2. Although critics say the Warrens were involved to a far lesser degree than portrayed in the movie, in fact, had shown up to the scene uninvited and been refused admittance to the home. Huh. Why wouldn't they let them in the home?
They were not allowed to go into the home of that?
No. Wonder why.
Maybe somebody was a pretty bad skeptic. Or somebody didn't want to know. Somebody didn't want the answers and want to know what wasn't really in the house.
True. Or they were that good at being attention-hungry children. And they didn't want to have the proof to say that there wasn't a poltergeist activity. I don't know. You never know.
Questionable. Why you would turn down the most notable paranormalist out there?
See, it makes you wonder.
Makes you go, Things that make you go, So here's another one. This one, I don't know. I've always been a big fan of werewolf movies and stuff. But this is another one I'd never heard about. Of course, I was only 6 years old when this happened. Is a werewolf. And we met some guys, my mom and I. I'll come back to this in just a second. But my mom and I met some two guys that actually like hunt for werewolves. Kind of reminds me of people looking for Bigfoot type guys. Go ahead, giggle, because I giggled too when he told me. He even had a book, okay? He even had a book. And
I have a book too. I have several books. I don't read them, but
Well, he asked me, because the convention was in Middletown. It was at Post Town a couple years ago. And his booth was right next to ours. So my mom got to talking to him and everything. I think she got one of their books. And he asked me, he said, at the time I lived in Carlisle, he's like, have you heard of the Carlisle werewolf? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. He's like, here's the newspaper. He had like a newspaper clipping of it or whatever. And of course, this is before I even lived here. Before I moved here to Ohio. But I was like, yeah, I've never heard this story ever. Until he showed me the newspaper article about it. And then I Googled it. And there is a bunch of stuff on it. But there's no pictures of anything close to what people have seen, I guess. And I haven't exactly been to those neck of the woods.
Well, here's my problem with pictures. Everybody says, well, I saw it yesterday, and I took a picture. And then it comes out and it's the blurriest damn picture in the world. What are you using?
Right.
An old 1820s camera? Or a 1920s camera?
That or they zoomed in too much and it's just hella pixelated.
Yeah. With all the new pictures or cameras on their phones and everything else, somebody's got to have a picture of something somewhere.
They had pictures. He had pictures in his book, but it wasn't from like the one in Carlisle. Like it's from all over the place where they travel.
Maybe it's just a hairy guy running around out in the woods naked.
Well, that's where they find pictures of Bigfoot too.
I mean, maybe if he wants to be left alone, people picked on him when he was younger, when he had all this hair, and nobody really understood that he was a hairy guy.
He's just out doing his thing, and they won't leave him alone.
Maybe it's a Greek family.
Oh my god. But this, I'll get off the thing in Carlisle now, but I thought that was interesting because this talks about a werewolf claim, but what it is the Warrens claim to have exorcised a werewolf demon in 1983. The subject of the case, Bill Ramsey, had bitten several people, believing himself to be a wolf. The events surrounding this case were later described in a 1991 book written by the Warrens, Werewolf, a true story of demonic possession. No photos or video are available to confirm the possibility and reasoning that Bill Ramsey was indeed possessed by a werewolf-type human or evil spirit. And there's a lot of skepticism on that one. Which I can see why, but
yeah.
It'd be different if this guy claimed to be a werewolf and was biting people, and then all the people that he was biting were doing the same thing as him.
That's what the movies tell us happens.
Well, yeah. And if you watch Supernatural, you know, it's a... I mean, you almost turn instantly within 24 hours, so why were there not more of him in this trial? You know what I'm saying?
Don't know. They don't run with the pack. I'm not saying
this stuff doesn't exist, by all means, because I do not have the answers for that at all. But it's, I don't know. There's always a lot of questions and all this stuff, and it doesn't necessarily it bringing up werewolves and whatnot does not necessarily mean the paranormal is just strictly spirits and ghosts. It's everything abnormal, you know?
Yep.
So...
Well, God rest in peace, Elizabeth Warren. She's with Ed now. They're back together again, hopefully. Hey, do you ever wonder, what would Lorraine Warren talk to St. Peter about when she got to the pearly gates?
I don't know.
Would he just look at her and go, "It's all yours"?
It's all yours.
Done. So rest in peace, Lorraine Warren. We'll miss you. It's now your time to relax.
I am going to go back and try and get some of these books, though, see if the library has them, and try and read some of these books. I think they'd be pretty interesting.
Cool.
And if you read further on that page, it was a video that I pulled up on the haunting in Connecticut. I pulled up a video, and it was interviewing Lorraine, and then it showed John Zaffis, which... Like when I was talking to Daniel, he didn't know who John Zaffis was, and I'm like, what? He's known as the godfather of the paranormal, but I didn't know that Lorraine and Ed Warren were his aunt and uncle.
Yep.
And I don't think he talked about... I know he did talk a little bit about him at the convention where I met him and Carmen Reed. Because they had went to the Haunting in Connecticut house or whatever and had investigated there too. So I know they did talk a little bit about that, but... I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm telling you right now, John Zaffis is awesome. He's got one of those loud laughs. But he is an amazing, amazing guy when it comes to paranormal stuff. You can ask him anything. I mean, he is so, I don't know, full of information. I could sit and talk to him all day for days.
Cool.
So yeah. Carmen too. Carmen was really nice too, considering everything that's happened to her. Yeah, so other than, the Warrens and stuff, and I just figured that'd be a good topic, you know, after we just lost her and they're both gone now. So, yeah. I know you had some other stuff you wanted to talk about. So
about the biggest thing I thought we would also talk about tonight would be, so everybody's talking about you need to try to do meditation to open up your chakras and open it up. And there's a lot of things that people don't understand about the ways to meditate. The very first thing that people need to do is, number one, and I already said that I don't do much of this, but you need to read. You need to learn about it before you start it, because you can go into a meditation and have lots of things go wrong.
Right.
Case in point, which I don't know if the video is still up, but if you get a chance, you can watch my video of the Farrar School where the meditation went way wrong. But the first
wrong
part...
How?
Oh, okay. Well, since I talked about it at one other show, I guess I can go ahead and talk about it here.
Well, you can just be brief about it. What happened?
I got caught. I got stuck.
As in you couldn't come back out of your meditation?
Yeah. There was 30 people around me.
Talking about up in Gettysburg?
No, this was up in the Farrar School.
Okay.
At the last event that we did for Riverside, Iowa Paranormal. I went, I'll just kind of describe the room. Very large room. I had 15 people in front of me, 15 people behind me. I was sitting in a chair in the middle of the room. Here's the part where Shannon's going to yell at me, guys. Around me, there was 8 fully functioning EM pumps running.
Yes.
And I was in the center of them in a chair. Okay. And I talked everybody through a breathing meditation to kind of get them all to relax. And then I stepped in and we turned on all the pumps. And then I sat there while Michelle was talking and Kelly was, people were talking and just telling people, pretty much look around. What are you feeling? People were talking about, they had never felt like that before because they were feeling, coldness that wasn't there before, or somebody felt like somebody was walking by them, or they could, see things moving. And about 15 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes into it, Michelle realized that I guess if you look at the footage, I was out cold. And so they started the process the way that Drew and I had talked about, to make sure that if I couldn't get out, that he could bring me out. They shut off the EM pumps. Drew walked up and touched me, and I didn't move. And then I started just slowly sliding away from him. He grabbed my arm, and this is where the weird part happened.
Okay.
The last thing I remember is sitting down in the chair and taking a few deep breaths, and then going, "Okay, Michelle, go ahead." That's the last thing I remember. And next thing I know, I woke up on the floor. Looked like I had been thrown to the side, away from Drew, crashed through one of the EM pumps and broke it. Broke the chair I was sitting in, hit pretty hard. Now, here's what I don't remember any of that part of it.
Okay.
But what I do remember is what happened in what I thought I was dreaming. So
okay.
I'm sitting there and listening to, just trying to listen to my breathing, taking some deep breaths, trying to speed up my breathing, trying to, was kind of doing like a holotropic breath work meditation, which is one of the things I'll explain here in a minute.
Okay.
But just, kept it going. And next thing I know, I was standing in the McIntyre Villa looking at Beth. There was a lady, they were on the second floor in the McIntyre Villa in the library, and she was talking about the military, because the second floor in the library is where the gentleman killed himself, who was in the military, who came back with he had a nasty disease, and it was killing him, and he was in pain all the time, and he took his own life there. And I remember looking at Beth, and then looking, and there was what looked like a guy in a uniform coming straight at her to almost like attack her. And I remember jumping in front of her to stop it. And next thing I know, I woke up on the floor. Well, when I kind of looked around and kind of realized where I was at, everybody's asking me if I'm okay. I remember looking at Michelle going, "You got to call Beth. I got to know she's okay." Beth was actually doing an investigation that night at the McIntyre Villa with a group of people for Ghost Hunts USA. She got a hold of Beth and said, "Beth, did anything strange just happen?" She said, "Yeah, it was kind of weird. About 15, 20 minutes ago, we were upstairs in the library. I was talking with a lady, and it looked like something was coming at us, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared." So I hadn't talked to Beth. I've never had a connection like that, and it scared the living shit out of me. So that's what I mean by know what the hell you're doing before you do it, because I should not have probably done that.
What was up with all the EM pumps?
Well, I built them. I had to try them out.
Yeah, but did you really need 8 of them around you?
They were little ones. They made a perfect circle around me. So, yeah. So, one of the things that people need to do before they start doing any kind of meditation is learn how to breathe. Now, granted, we do this all the time, but people take it for granted. They don't know how to slow their breathing rate down, how to slow their heart rate down, and how to slow their body down, or how to speed it up and slow it down at the same time.
Right.
And I know that sounds really stupid, and like you're going, "What the?" But there's so many different types of breathing that you can do. There's the first one is, and most of this is actually is pretty much like a common type of yoga breathing. You take take slow, deep breaths in, pause for a second, and then slowly breathe out until you're pushing, and then you pause and you breathe in. Doing that, you can actually, if you're really tired and you start doing that, you can actually oxygenate yourself even more, and it'll actually help wake you up. Another piece is called equal breathing, where you take a slow inhale through your nose for the count of 4 and slowly exhale out your nose through the count of 4. And it actually is a way to help reduce stress, calm your nerves, and it helps you increase your focus. So if you're doing something, even at work, just, you're stressing out, okay, I got to figure this out, I got to get this done. Take a step back, close your eyes, open your mind and do that breathing, and it'll actually help calm you down, and it helps you focus more. There's abdominal breathing, where you place one hand on your chest, place the other on your stomach, take a deep breath in through your nose, and you feel your stomach move and inflate your diaphragm with air without moving your chest. You don't want your chest to move. So now you're stretching out your diaphragm, which again helps you calm, but it also helps in your meditation, because that's where what you need to do is you need to try to take that in, and it's almost like recollecting yourself, right. Make yourself, bring yourself back to where you're supposed to be, and it's a powerful way to reduce your stress at any given time. You'll see people in courtroom situations. You'll see them. They look like they got one hand. They just look like they're relaxing, and you'll see their hand on their chest not move, but their hand on their stomach will move, and their eyes are barely open. They're just reducing their stress at that time. And it's another way if people are, if you have high anxiety at work, or if you have a tendency to, for lack of better terms, go off the handle about things.
Yeah, short fuse. Breathe.
Now, all this, and there's nostril breathing, there's a 4-7-8 count breathing, there's a skull breathing, mala bead breathing. There's all sorts of different ways, and all these are yoga type breathing, which help you get yourself calm. The one I really want to talk about is called holotropic breath work. Now, you can look this up on the internet. It's out there. It's not something you really want to do on your own. You can do it. There are workshops out there that are on YouTube where they walk you through it and how everything that I've seen on this, and I've started reading on it because I really, really want to try it. It's breathing at a really fast pace to raise your blood pressure and raise your senses around you, because you do this laying down blindfolded. So you usually always want to have two people. You want to have what they call the sitter, and the sitter is you're the breather, and the other is the sitter. The sitter is the person that kind of talks you through it and makes sure whatever happens, you've always got somebody watching you.
Right.
So when people are doing this, and while you're breathing, and the sitter there is helping you walk through this and stuff, one of the things you want to do is you want to not ignore your body when you do this. You want, if your arms decide they're going to go out, let them go out. If you want to start, if you feel like you're going to start crying, let it go. Just let it go. If you need to move around and roll around, just do it. People have released such emotions while they're doing this. A lot of people cry. Some people scream. A lot of people start laughing because they can't stop. But it's a laughter that comes from deep down inside. When you get the giggles and you just can't stop, and you're just you're laughing so hard that you feel like, I'm gonna pee myself.
Yeah, and your stomach hurts and your face hurts.
Yeah. But if you've ever had that while you're laying flat, you can feel it all the way down in your thighs and your knees, because you've pulled all the muscles so tight, and it just let it out. This is one thing that a lot of people do. They use this technique a lot in not just meditation, but they use this technique in people who have had traumatic experiences. One of them being rape. They use this a lot to help people know that they can let it out, because, a lot of people that have traumatic experiences, the first thing they do is they hide it. They bury it deep inside.
Right.
And they don't want to let it out. Well, this can help let that out and help you know that it's okay to let it go. Well, if you take this more towards what we do in the paranormal world, when you start this holotropic breathing and you start going through this, most people that do this start to have an out-of-body experience. And they know they're not there. They're floating somewhere. And now there's people that are combining this with with meditations like a staircase meditation or a field meditation, where you're walking along and somebody's walking you through this whole thing, but at the same time you're doing this breathing technique while laying flat on on your back. Some people do it when they're doing their journey to try to find their spirit guides or their spirit animal. And it helps open them up even more. And they also do it, some people, you'll be doing this when people are talking you through aligning your chakras, starting with with the white light above you that comes down, and you start to see those colors and those lights, and you know what each one of them means. It's just it's something that if you can do it, I think it makes for a better how do I want to say it? It opens you up more, unless you don't want to be opened up. Because there are complications that can happen, and that's where I'm not gonna not say there isn't any. There actually have been people who have had blood problems or like heart problems and stuff that have caused their own heart attacks doing this. There's people that have there's 2 known cases in the United States right now where people put themselves into comas doing this. And they were doing it with a person that's licensed to do this and walk somebody through this. So, again, know what you're doing before you do it. But this is one big one. There's a lot of people that talk about how they're on their journey to understand what their gift may be, but they just don't know how to get past. They're almost at a wall, and they don't know how to get past. And I believe this breath work would actually help people, because you have to look inside yourself while you're doing this. You've got to be. If you can't trust the inside of yourself and inside your, for lack of a better term, soul and your spirit on your own, of your own self, then you can't reach out to the outside and look at the spirit realm out there. That's the way I feel.
That's a lot to take in.
I know it is, and it's. I've been looking at this for close to probably, since Gettysburg. I've been reading about this since my little incident in Gettysburg, and then after the Farrar School, I've been really looking at this hard, going, okay, if I'm going to keep doing some things like this, then I need to understand more and more about what's going on.
Right.
Like what kind of meditations do you do?
The one that I don't know if she's still doing the same one, but when Beth and I when we first started out, like working for ghost hunts and stuff, we'd both sit down. Usually try and do it in a location, but when her and I went to the Bel Air house for our first investigation with ghost hunts, we tried to meditate in the house, I guess. And what we do is try and picture our feet, standing on, and we'd normally be sitting, and I don't know what type of meditation this would be considered, but we'd normally be sitting like Indian style, facing each other. We were on the living room floor in the main room at the Bel Air house, and we just picture our feet flat on the ground and running roots down into the ground, as deep as you can possibly get it, and then bringing it back up, like bringing the light back up, and then going through each part of your body, up through your feet, through your legs, and your arms, your upper body and everything else, and coming out the top of your head, and then bringing it back down, and kind of doing it that way.
That's a form of grounding.
Okay, well, that's what we would do. Okay. Before an investigation, and we changed it to like outside, doing it outside on the grounds or whatever, because when she was doing this, we were both doing it at the same time, facing each other, and as she was sending roots down, there's a basement there, and we were on the first floor. As she was picturing sending her roots down, into the ground or whatever, something in the basement, a spirit-wise, kind of like the way she described it, was something grabbed a hold of her roots and sent that light right back up into her body, and she kind of snapped right out of what she was doing, and then we ended up going outside to do it.
So I challenge you, next time you try to do that, okay, try to do it standing outside, but take your shoes off. Put your bare feet on the grass.
I've done it standing, but I've never done it barefoot.
It'll be a totally different thing. And if you can do it where there's like a grove of trees around you, it'll be you'll feel the difference.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Because the thought behind it is if you're doing it around trees and you're doing it around living plants, like if there's flowers and there's bushes and there's trees,
Kind of like their roots.
You're tapping into their root energy and they're sending the goodness up into you because let's face it, without trees and plants, we couldn't live. There'd be no oxygen.
Right.
So you're drawing off their energies to ground you even tighter to Mother Earth and the love and light around you. So give that a shot next time when you said do that. You can do that almost anywhere.
I'll try it at Ashmore. We go May 11th. I'll try it there.
Yeah, definitely try that. That would be a good one to try. Try it outside. Take your shoes off. And sometimes I don't know how many people are going to be at Ashmore.
It's just our group. It's a private.
Do your whole group at the same time. Try to get all of them to, and you may have to talk them through it. There's a really good one that I downloaded by Laura Evans that she talks you through a grounding, and I'll send it to you. I'll send you the link to all her stuff. She has some really good ones, and that's kind of where I picked up on the grounding one and also on the staircase meditation. And there's a version to the staircase meditation where you can go. You start out outside, and I don't know how much time we got left, but you can start out outside and you picture a house, any house, whether it's the house you grew up in or the house you want or just the one, something. It can be completely imaginary in your mind. And you feel, first you do your grounding, and once that energy comes back up and you feel it in the top of your head, you start picturing that house and you walk towards the door, knowing that no matter what's on the other side of that door can't hurt you. You open the door and it's what you've imagined. It's the most beautiful home in the world, and right in front of you is a staircase. You slowly step up that staircase. I just got goosebumps running through my body.
I'm getting goosebumps listening to you tell me.
So you take that first step and you take a deep breath, and then you go step number 2, and you're slowly moving up. Step number 3, step number 4. Step number 5. Now you're halfway up and you're starting to see the top of the steps and then landing. Step 6. Now you can slightly see over landing. Step 7. Step 8. 9. You can look around, but you have one more step. And when you take that 10th step, you're actually in an open field. And you're looking around. It's the most beautiful pasture you've ever seen in your life. Now look around. Relax. Take some deep breaths in. It's the cleanest oxygen you've ever tasted in your life. Now, if you look off to your left, there's a doorway in the middle of the field. On the other side of that door is your family that's gone before you. Will you go to that door and will you open it? You walk slowly over to the door, and all you have to do is reach out and open the door and step in and notice around you that your family. Now, there's a whole different way to doing this, and that was a quick version of what I usually walk people through. Is there something they want to tell you? If you feel like they're holding you, they don't want to let you go, you need to tell them, I have to go. But you could listen to them because somebody has an answer for a question you have. Somebody has some guidance for you. But you have to go now. And again, there's a lot more that I say in there. Then you come back and you shut the door. Now you take a couple steps forward and look around. You're still in this open field, and when you look back, that door is gone. And you're just in a beautiful field. But now you see the staircase in front of you, and you have to come back down now. So then I work you down the steps, you come all the way down, and then you walk out the front door, and you take 4 or 5 more steps and turn around, and that house is gone, and you're in the most serene place you've ever been. Now slowly open your eyes. And now you're ready to start your investigation. So
what you need to do is pre-record this for me and then send it to me.
I could probably do that.
Does this Laura, does she do it?
She's got a lot of them pre-recorded on there. I have to try to find that other one for you. I'm looking right now, but Some of the stuff she's got on there, and she's got all sorts of them on there. She's got one on there for kids that help them with school, and apparently it works.
Maybe I need to get that one off of her to give to Taylor. Not that she needs a lot of help at school, but it could help.
Is this it right here? Yep, I just found it. So, she's got a whole, oh my god, list upon lists in here. It's, for anybody who's listening that would like to go look for it, it's www.podomatic, podomatic.com/podcast/medium Laura Evans. I'm going to send you that link real quick. But yeah, she's got so many. There's just so many little things out there that you can go through and you can look at. I'll see if I can't pre-record that one for you, and the one I just talked about. I've done that twice with people, and we did it once at Missouri and once at McAteer Villa, and people said it changed the way they felt in the room and the way they felt with everything. And they saw more and heard more.
As it made them more relaxed and more aware.
Yeah, they said it helped out a lot. So, again, it's all about the breathing. It's all about how you can try to open up, your third eye, how you can relax yourself, how you can bring yourself centered, and a lot of it is all how you feel about yourself. If you don't like yourself, then you're going to have a completely different experience. And there's a lot of people out there that don't like themselves. But they need to understand that this is the only self they've got. And, hey, we deal with what we have, right?
And
so...
Well, yeah. We got about a minute, or a little less than a minute.
I want to thank everybody for being here and being along with us. Shannon, it was awesome as always.
It was awesome to be here again.
So, y'all, take your time. Do it right the first time. Rest in peace, Lorraine Warren. Be with Ed. Now you can relax. You guys, join us next week when we'll try to come up with something else crazy to talk about. You never know what we'll come up with. So,
exactly.
I guess if we're running out of time, the only thing we got left to say is, y'all, keep it real, and we'll see you in the dark. Night, everybody.
Good night.